No, it looks good. It looks good. Boom.
Meet Professor Hobo and Pahulu. Pahulu, Hobo, and I were taught under the tutelage of Mestre Ephraim Silva. During the pandemic, our mestre was forced to shut down and move to Florida due to being unable to host classes in person and due to the financial suffering of the pandemic that was going on worldwide. Thankfully, thanks to students like Hobo and Pahulu, we were able to keep the spirit of what our mestre taught us going and able to keep the energy of our community of Capoeiristas alive here in the city of New Haven and managed to start again from the ground up with a new Capoeira Academy.
My name is Daniel Carvajal. My Capoeira name is Professor Robozinho. Robozinho means a little robot. I used to be very stiff, so that was I got my nickname. Why Capoeira is unique? Everyone perceives Capoeira in a different aspect. The way how I perceive Capoeira, Capoeira is unique for me because it allowed me to express myself as I am. It's one of the only places where I can be me without any worrying about anything else. That's Capoeira is unique for me.
All right, Leonard Burke. Capoeira named Pahulu. Pahulu means the big tough guy. It is a art of freedom, expression of the body's movement, and song and dance, the history behind it and everything. Literally was about the freedom of the slaves in Brazil. So coming from being brought over to South America from Africa involuntarily, it was one of those things. They stayed connected to their roots. It evolved over time, but then it eventually turned into a form of protection, along with forming the culture and keeping it alive. So liberation, freedom, a lot of spirituality behind it also.
Meet Professor Careca. Careca was also taught under Mestre Ephraim Silva. Today, he is a father of two and is dedicated to running a non-profit organization that is dedicated to helping students and Capoeiristas by granting them scholarships for education and any goals that they wish to accomplish.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Bova. I'm also known as Professor Careca in Capoeira world. Capoeira to me, what's important about Capoeira to me? Capoeira is dynamic, we don't really use the hands, the art of dodging. Capoeira interests me because it looks like we're dancing, it looks like we're fighting, but we're challenging each other in a dialogue, and we're really fighting something else together while we're playing Capoeira together. For me, Capoeira was an amazing thing to see, amazing thing to do, to travel the world and be a part of it, but also the self-awareness that comes. You have a higher sense of self and others when you're practicing Capoeira and you're in the community. And it gave me tremendous power to engage communities as a community leader, working in schools, any other capacity of service to others.
Yeah, Martelos and Rasteiro. So if you want to just train Martelo and Rasteiro the same way, so we're going to show what I know what we're doing.
Meet Professor Fomia. Fomia is also taught by Mestre Ephraim Silva, and she is also the one that gave me my Capoeira nickname Come Fome, and she taught me my first Jenga. Fomia is also an activist in the city of New Haven dedicated to fighting social injustices for minority groups, and she runs an organization called the Samia Collective dedicated to helping immigrants in the city of New Haven that live on Quinnipiac land. She also uses capoeira to help inner city youth.
Hey, handsome! Hi, my love. I'm catching up to you. I told you I was going to be your color. now we can say we are brothers. I love you. Are you going to be able to practice now? Stay there.
Yeah, so my name is Lisa Bergman. My capoeira name is Professora Fomia. And capoeira is unique because it's an art form that was created by the African slaves in Brazil as a form of resilience and power. And it's used today to bring communities together, to celebrate life, celebrate resilience. And I'm very grateful to be part of it.
Get ready. 4. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Sophia Zita coming from ladies in front. Good. All right, here we go. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and back. Jingle. Go, yeah. Oh. 1, 2, 3, let's go! Jingle! Hey, go! 1, 2, 3, back!
This is Mestre Ephraim Silva, the man responsible for making the monster of a capoeirista that I am today, and also the one that taught me the quote that got me into UConn. If you think too much, you will never get married.
Well, my name is Ephraim Silva, and what makes capoeira unique, in my opinion, is the fact that capoeira is a combination of many different things: music, dance, martial arts, gymnastics, culture, everything combined in one art form.
One of the biggest fundamental elements of capoeira that drew me towards the martial art was the music, a key foundation to the capoeira game and sequence.
First of all, music brings my spirit out. I feel the energy. I feel like there is this force coming to the ground and goes to your legs and all the way to your head, and an explosion of emotion happens in between. And yeah, it's quite unique.
The most beautiful thing for me is that capoeira helps my mind clear completely, and I just feel completely happy. The first time I ever saw capoeira, I had no idea what it was, but it was the only time in my life that I felt love at first sight, where I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. So honestly, when I go play the instrument or play the game, I'm just 100% zoned in on what is happening, and it's a beautiful feeling. It basically uplifts my spirit every time.
Paranauê. That talks about, I forget what it actually means, but it's all about the freedom. It's the captured slaves freeing themselves. But I think for me, the music's, it gives me a primal feeling. You know what I mean? Like you're playing these songs that were created way back when. The meaning behind every single one of them is deep. You're not just playing the drums just to play them. You're learning the culture and everything. And for me, music, I love music. The beat and bow, the atubaki, Jesus. Every one of the instruments, when I play them, I feel connected to the culture.
So that's an interesting question, because I find that when you're playing the instruments, you're trying to play with the other players next to you to make the bateria, to make the music. So it's really hard to think about anything except for what you have to do. If you're holding the beating bow, you're leading the roda, you're watching who's coming in the door, you're watching the people play the game, making sure everybody's doing their job while you're listening to the music. So it's very hard to think about what didn't go right in your day yesterday or the day before, or to look out for what might be coming later. No, because you have to be totally present. And when you're playing capoeira, you're in the circle, the wheel, the roda, the twang of the beating bow, the heartbeat of the drum, the threat, physical, emotional, from the other player. You can't think about anything besides what you're doing right there in the game. And it's very meditative in that way because it's hard, because it pushes the limit of all of your sensory experiences, for me anyway. And it's very difficult to think about what might be going on in your life. And it's the most beautiful thing to have that meditative moment. When you leave capoeira class, you know, you're walking out of the street with your friends, maybe going to get something to eat. It's very hard to remember what was on your mind before you went to class, and if there was something there, you're probably not going to walk out of class feeling bad about it. You're probably only going to feel better. But it's very hard to think about anything when you're doing that, because you have somebody throwing kicks in front of you and awus and acrobatics, and it's also your job to pay attention to the other person, to have a conversational dialogue. So you have to pay attention. And when you're paying that much attention, it's hard to think about anything else.
Well, when I play beating ball, for instance, for me it's an amazing way to connect with whatever is happening, with the energy in the roda, with the players. When I'm playing, singing, it's a way to connect with the game. And when I'm playing capoeira, it's to connect with the music that's being played. So, and that's again the beauty of this art form, because everything, it's all about energy, it's all about connection.
The capoeira community is very big and expansive. Like my mestre always tells us, you learn best when you travel and play different people from different schools around the world. What it also does is build your connection of capoeira community and capoeira family.
Oh, first Jenga, awkward. The first Jenga, I was doing totally the opposite of what I was told to do. I did different martial art before, capoeira, and it was my background that allows me to be very stiff, and capoeira is very flowing, very smooth, and that's why I got Robozinho as a little robot nickname. And as the time went by, I used to train 5 days a week, 2 hours every day. 2 years later, I was pretty good at capoeira. 4 years, I got my first instructor belt. And now I just enjoy it.
It's not easy, it hurts, but it's only for the patient. Not everybody can do it. One, it's let's see, it requires some athleticism that you can get up to, obviously, but outside of the physical, it keeps you connected to the past, I feel like I'm doing what ancestors from way back when practice. And of course, again, it evolves, and it feels like I'm connecting to a worldwide culture, in capoeira.
My first Jenga was in Bolivia. I learned Spanish in Bolivia, and that was where I first saw capoeira. That was where I first took a class of capoeira. Bolivia and Brazil share a border, and so my first Jenga was with a teacher called Professor Buchecha, and I felt very awkward. I had no idea what I was doing. I put my feet all in the wrong place, of course, because capoeira is very different from the body when you start. But once you get going, it feels very good to your body.
So I remember I was a cross-country runner. I think I started in late '99, and I thought I was strong. My first class, Mestre Efrain, I walked out of there tired, sore, and completely out of breath. It was a whole different set of muscles and way of moving that I had never done before. And I remember the first Roda I went to with some other beginner students. There was lots of Mestres and teachers there, and I remember that a lot of the students got up and left when the Roda started, but I jumped right in the Roda, and I held a handstand for like, I don't know, 30 seconds or something. And I think they were wondering, like, what's up with this guy? And then when I stepped down and started to do my jinga, they were like, oh, okay, he's just got a good handstand. So I focused on so many movements and so many different things in capoeira in the beginning, and then now 20 years later plus, you know, the same things are not as important as what I thought was important when I first started. The movements, looking good, doing the jinga, the kicks, the movement, you know, it's a very humbling experience. And after graduating to be a professional teacher in 2013, having my own group for 7 years, getting our group sponsored by Contemporânea, the biggest samba drum company in Brazil, and to where I am now, you know, my body doesn't work so great. I'm almost 44, but it still does what I want it to do. And when my body doesn't feel good, I play with my soul, because capoeira ignites that in me. And so what's important to me now is growing the capoeira community, teaching others, brings me tremendous satisfaction. So it's not about me anymore, it's really about preserving and passing on the art. And to do that, we created a non-profit. So there are so many aspects of capoeira besides just being able to play capoeira. It's who you are as a person to the other people in your capoeira community. And for me, I wanted to help bring stability, sustainability, and do what I can now with the power of my pen if my legs don't work so good. But to play capoeira and come home, I get the same feeling I got from capoeira as a student that I get as a teacher when I leave class. I feel free.
Well, I started capoeira when I was 13 years old in Brazil, and the reason I started capoeira was to defend myself as a martial artist, and it was an amazing experience, which is I started as 13, and now at 58, I'm still moving. And the difference is, well, I was excited then to learn, and I'm very excited now that I'm still learning.
I'd say it was my first batizado, where I think I was maybe 1 or 2 months in, and this was at the old studio in New Haven, and you saw all sorts of people from around the world come to the event. You saw all different levels. It was cool to see, you know, outside of the folks that we normally trained with and everything, you saw Mestres from everywhere. You saw skilled people from everywhere, and the overall feeling was having fun at the end of the day. Coming together, having people graduate to the next chords, and just, you know, growing together. You know, all the workshops over the few days and whatnot. It was really a coming together moment. That's what I took away from it.
I think it's a beautiful thing that capoeira is getting to be such a big sport now, not internationally. You know, when Mestre Efraim, our teacher, started here, he knew nobody in Connecticut or in this area of the country that was doing capoeira. He had to start from scratch with one student in the basement of a church. And now to see capoeira as big as it is, as our community as big as it is in Connecticut, and expanding around the world is just, it's a true honor. Like any one of us that are part of our school, we can travel to another city, and we can pretty much find capoeira in almost every major city in the United States now. And that means we have friends in every city, and that's something that you can't pay for that. That's a priceless thing.
Unity. People here in Capoeira community, we are very united, and we bring hope not only to people that probably they never think they were going to accomplish something in their life with their body, but we embrace not only people with good health, but people that have Down syndrome and all this type of disability, and we incorporate them into our groups, and we treat them equals as everyone else.
Memorable experience. I have two. I'm going to give you one from 2003, and then I'm going to give you more modern ones. 2003, we went to Mestres Doutor for a batizado, and all the biggest names in the world were there in Capoeira. Mestre Suastuna, Mestre Esquilo, Mestre Efraim, Mestre Doutor, of course, Mestre Granji. No, I can go on and on and on. Mestre Bom Jesus, Mestre Cabello, Chief Crowder, some of the more popular ones that are today. And to watch them play, the energy in that room was just amazing. To see all these professional teachers play was really a moment. One later on was being invited to one of the biggest teacher graduations in the US. It was one of the biggest ones in the world. People from Brazil came to the States to get their professor belt, and that was in California. Mestre Marcelo Cavarinha was also another amazing event. Traveling the world in the context of being a capoeirista, you're traveling the world not as a tourist, as an artist, a fighter, a musician, somebody with an open door in every part of the world. Got invited to go to St. Martin to help do a batizado there. Met so many friends. I went to visit my friend in Rome, and he says, we have to go play capoeira with this group. And I said, Sujo, I'm a teacher. I can't just walk in the room and just say, hey, I'm a professor, can I play? So I had to call the teacher, and he invited me down. He's very nice. And I told my friend, I said, you know what, I'm not going to play right away. I'm going to watch. I was like, if they play the kind of capoeira that I feel like I can play, that would be complimentary, then I'll play. So I watched for a few minutes, and then I saw the Mestre was like putting his foot on females and like pushing them to the ground. I turned to my friend and said, you know what, I'm probably not going to play. And then I spoke with the Mestre. He came over and introduced himself. He knows my Mestre, Mr. Efraim. And he spoke English, Italian, and Portuguese, but yet he would only speak to me in Portuguese, which is an interesting experience. So he said, come play, come play, come play. I promise it'll be good. So I went and played, and it turned out that their group was amazing. And it was so much fun, and they were so alike, even though they're from Rome, Italy, and I'm from Connecticut. And it turned out, in the end, he was explaining to everyone, because I wasn't pushing the girls or kicking them to abuse them, to exert my power over them. And it turned out that the girls were just stronger. The women in the group were the strongest in the group, way stronger than all the guys. So, but it was an amazing experience. And then, of course, out in Rome for the night with the group, it was amazing. Traveling the world as a capoeirista is one of the things I enjoy the most.
Well, first of all, I am proud of that, especially because I am one of the capoeiristas that was also able to bring capoeira into the world, to the United States, to Connecticut specifically, and create the community that is now growing more and more. And it is an amazing experience for all of us that came from our culture to bring our culture to the world and seeing it grow as it is growing.
Capoeira has always had something for me since I first started. Whether I take time off from playing due to injury, or life, or whatever come what may, I will always have Capoeira and the Capoeira community to pick me back up in both the good times and in the bad. And no matter where I may be in the world, I will always find Capoeira, and I will always find family. I just have to listen to the rhythm and move.
I think just for me to be my best every day, just to keep training. We're always learning in this art form. We always are learning no matter what. Today we had a class, there are things that are challenging for me. I've been training for almost 20 years, and today's class was hard for me. So I think no matter what, my intention is just to show up every day and do my best and be an example for other people who want to learn. And I'm very honored to do that.
That would be to share my abilities and knowledge with other people, other cultures, other countries, other languages. I got it fortunate to kind of understand Portuguese, Italian, Spanish. So it would be to share what I know, which is very little compared to what capoeira is.
That's a tough one. I want it to be where, like any of us, as you continue to practice the art, it's for the next generation. You have little kids that may look up to myself, Hobo, anybody, and they almost look at us like we're superheroes because we're doing cool kicks, we're spinning, we're dancing, laughing, and everything. And I think it's something that we have to keep on passing through. It can be a brutal sport, if used the wrong way, and if the mind's in a bad place and whatnot. But I think for the future generation, like just carrying it on and everything, it's all about coming together and whatnot. So I think that's when people see me, there may be a little black kid that's like, oh, I never knew that. We do that too, so I want to do that as well. You know what I mean?
Love to just have a great group, preserving all the traditions that I was taught, passing it on, maybe growing some teachers to carry on their work. I can plant a seed in somebody else to take the journey and do it right, do it well. I don't have any big goals other than what I've already done. My group, creating a nonprofit, traveling the world as a teacher, playing, knowing, working with all the biggest names in the world of capoeira. I mean, it sounds great. Made so many friends, and I think that's the biggest accomplishment.
I don't know if I have a mission or anything, and I don't see it as that, but I can tell you this, I would love, and I have already done that for many years, to give capoeira as a tool of transformation for people to experience themselves from a different level in whatever place that they are in life. And I think I did that, using capoeira and showing that it is possible. And now Connecticut has Professor Robô and Professora Fominha to continue this work, using again capoeira as a tool to make a difference in people's lives, and that's what I want to accomplish. And I think I accomplished that so far, and I'm going to continue doing that.